All right, today we're going to dive into a topic that's all around us, shaping our world in ways we might not even realize. We're talking about the huge and super practical world of modern psychology.
So, let me just ask you, when you hear that word psychology, what's the first image that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's probably something pretty specific.
Maybe a therapist with a notepad, a patient lying on a couch talking about their dreams. But here's the thing, that's just one tiny corner of a much, much bigger world. Psychology today is a real science, and it touches pretty much every part of our lives.
So, to really get our heads around it, we first need a map. Let's start by mapping out the mind's incredible landscape.
Okay, so what is modern psychology really? At its heart, it's defined as an empirical science. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, it means it's not about guesswork. It uses solid, evidence-based methods to figure out why we, and even animals, do what we do. It's a study of behavior and all those complex things happening inside our heads.
And trust me, the scope is massive. We can actually break the field down into at least 8 major areas. You've got the one we all know, clinical psychology, but then there's stuff that shapes our jobs, our schools, and our health. Each one is a whole world in itself, so let's just zoom in on a couple to really get a feel for this landscape.
First up, let's talk about cognitive psychology. This is all about the internal machinery of our minds. It's the part of psychology that asks, how do we think? It looks at things like perception, memory, how we make decisions, basically the nuts and bolts of our thought processes.
Or to put it another way, this is the science that explains how you can learn a new language, why you can instantly remember the lyrics to a song from 20 years ago, or how you figure out a really tricky puzzle. It's kind of like the user manual for your brain's operating system.
But of course, we don't think in a bubble, right? And that brings us to social psychology. This is where we shift focus from just the individual mind to how we act out in the social world. It digs into how our thoughts, our feelings, and actions are all shaped by the people around us.
So, you ever notice you're a little different with your close friends than you are at a big family dinner or in a work meeting? Yeah, that's social psychology in action. It's the science behind why we conform, who we see as a leader, and even where something as complicated as prejudice comes from.
Then you've got the really hard science side of things, biological psychology. This is where the mind literally meets the body. It's all about studying the physical roots of our behavior, how our brain, our nervous system, and even our DNA influence every single thing we think and do.
And this isn't just theory, it's pretty incredible. Researchers use these amazing tools like fMRI and EEG scans to literally watch the brain light up while it's working. It gives us this direct window into what's physically happening when we feel an emotion or solve a problem.
Okay, so we've got a basic map of the territory, but what's the point of a map if you don't use it to actually go somewhere? That brings us to part 2, putting the map to use.
And the source material for this whole explainer points to 7, count them, 7 distinct areas where psychology is making a huge, tangible impact in the real world every single day. Just take a look at how this plays out. On one side, you have these common, real-world challenges, and on the other, you have the specific field of psychology that steps in to help. Got conflict at work? That's a job for organizational psychology. Trying to help a child overcome a learning disability? That's an educational psychologist. It's all about applying what we know to solve real human problems.
And one of the most powerful tools in that toolkit is evidence-based therapy. You've probably heard of cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. It's a hugely effective, research-backed method that helps people manage all sorts of mental health challenges, everything from anxiety to depression.
And the impact goes way beyond the therapist's office. Psychological principles are used to help teachers manage classrooms better, to help companies motivate their employees, and even to help governments create smarter public policies on really important issues like child protection. And when disaster strikes, psychologists are right there on the front lines, providing critical trauma counseling.
So when you put it all together, you see that psychology really has this dual identity. It's a science, but it's also a practical tool. So let's bring it home in part 3, psychology in your world. I think it really boils down to this. On the one hand, psychology is this huge academic field, always exploring every little aspect of our behavior. But on the other hand, it's an incredibly practical toolkit for life, giving us real strategies to improve our health, our work, our education, and our relationships.
There's a quote from our source that I think just nails it. It says, "As psychology continues to grow, it contributes significantly to human development, problem solving, and the construction of more adaptive, inclusive societies. It's a field that's always evolving, always trying to help us build a better world."
So there you have it. We've seen just how big the world of modern psychology is and how useful its tools can be. It's a map of the human mind and a set of tools for navigating our lives. So I guess the only question left is, now that you've seen the map, where are you going to use it?